Happy Friday, television family. We made it to the end of work week. It's the 18th day of September 2020. I am Dan Kuntz. The weekend is almost here. It's the last weekend of summer 2020. The autumnal equinox comes your way on Tuesday of next week. We say goodbye to summer and we welcome autumn, and we need rain, and we're going to get a little. They've backed off on the amount of rain, however, but we'll take whatever we can get. It looks like we're almost done with this bad air. The air quality is still hazardous, which is, it's not good, but it's better than it was from all of north central Washington. But the air quality is going to improve. That long-awaited low that they've been talking about is finally going to work its way into the inland northwest and north central Washington. We're going to have a little bit of light rain, some sprinkles perhaps later on this afternoon, tonight into Saturday. We're going to have some active wind. Going to scour out the skies. Things are looking better. We just got to get there. Forecast details are coming up. A lot of news to get to. As you might imagine, the Mariners let another one slip by. There's only 10 games left in the regular season. The Mariners were playing some pretty meaningful baseball. Looked like they were going to break their streak of not making the playoffs. Maybe not so much now. We'll talk about Mariner baseball, everything else you need to start your day, everything you're used to. We have a brand new opinion from Mike Mad Dog Magnotti. He came in and recorded some new stuff. You're going to like what you hear from Mike. Well, you may not like what you hear from Mike, but he always makes you think. A brand new opinion from Mike Magnotti. You've never seen it. The only two people who've seen it are me and Mike. Anyway, that'll be coming up. And in the back half of the hour, my conversation with Dominick Bonny. Dom is going to be hosting a brand new show on the NCWLIFE channel. It makes its debut Monday night at 8 o'clock. It's called Common Sense. And we'll be talking to Dominick Bonny. The back half of the program. It's hazy, it's smoky, it's 57 degrees, and at 2 minutes after the hour, let's see what we got going. Of course, the cross camera looks pretty much like it did yesterday at this time. It's still, the air quality is slowly getting better, little by little by little. The big change is going to happen this weekend. We need to talk about this. We've gone 95 days since we had measurable precipitation at Pangbourne Memorial Airport. That was June 15th. That was before we even started summer. That's the last time we had enough rain to actually register on the rain gauge. It has been a bone dry summer. Sun's been up for about 20 minutes. Sun came up at 6:43, goes down at 7:05 tonight, 12 hours and 22 minutes of daylight as we look across the hazy Wenatchee Valley. Rest of the way is Megan's Choice. Camera number 2. Oh, where are we off? Megan's thrown a curveball at me here. I think we're looking at Lake Chelan. We're looking at Waterville, the Waterville camera down at the Columbia River. Okay, Megan. So is that Aniat I'm kind of looking at over there? Looks to be Aniat. It's so hard to tell. That's not a bad view. I kind of like that view. That's from our Waterville camera. But normally we have it pointed actually towards Waterville, but now we have it pointed the other direction. That's the Columbia River down there, and I want to say that's Aniat. Lost in the haze. Camera number 3. Hello to McNeil Canyon. Hey, the top of McNeil Canyon, I should say. Somewhere out there is Lake Chelan. Chelan, you've got some pretty poor air quality. It's still not good there. Wenatchee, Chelan, Leavenworth, Quincy, Moses Lake. We'll show you the slide when we get to that in just a couple of minutes. You'll see a lot of red dots, but again, things are looking better. Good morning to McNeil Canyon, and off in the distance, the community of Chelan, and finally, camera number 4. It is Valley High. Hey, I got one right. Da, 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 da. They haven't had it too bad. When I drove back in the smoke and the haze from my vacation, I took over Blewett Pass. I had to rent a car because none of the planes were flying into Pangbourne. We sat at the airport for hours on end, and they kept saying, well, we'll see. And finally, they went over the PA system and said, well, that flight to Pangbourne from SeaTac, that ain't going to happen. Then everybody rushed to the car rental place and rented a car just so they could get back home. And I noticed when I was driving over Blewett Pass, there were pockets when it really wasn't that bad as far as the air quality is concerned. You can see actually a little bit more in that area than you were before. There's a car on Blewett Pass, as a matter of fact. So again, things are looking better. We still have the air quality alert. It's going to go through 10 o'clock on Saturday. And then hopefully it'll expire. Let's take a look at what dots we have for you this morning from the Washington State Department of Ecology. This is our air quality for the state of Washington. As you can see, Wenatchee right in the middle. Red dot means, not good, but it's still better. The worst of all is the maroon, the dark red one, and that's what we had for quite some time once the fires broke out over Labor Day weekend and into the early part of last week. We've been dealing with the smoke for long enough, thank you very much. So everybody's still in the hazardous area, but it's better than it was. Wenatchee, Chelan, Leavenworth, Quincy, Moses Lake, still reading about the same as far as that's concerned. But as I mentioned before, finally, we're going to see some of that smoke push out of the region. We're going to have some improving air quality. It's going to take a little while. It'll slowly improve today. It'll really improve, it looks like, on Saturday, as not only that low pushes through that cold front, it might give us a little bit of light rain. It's also going to pick up the wind just a little bit. In fact, let's talk about rain. They've backed off on the amount of rain and the percentage of rain, but we'll take what we can get. Now they say more of a 20% chance of light rain afternoon today. And again, we're talking about just sprinkles, but we'll take anything we can get at this point, which is going to, first of all, tamper down the fires, which is going to help. And it's also going to bring in a little bit of wind, which is also going to help. So the chances of precipitation for the Wenatchee Valley anyway, and most of north central Washington, not very much, but we'll take whatever it is that we can get. They've backed way off on the possibility of thunderstorms, by the way, and that's really good news, because that's the last thing we need. Thunderstorms mean lightning and flooding. That's not good. All right, from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they give your home a hug. Here we go. I'm going to top off right around 83. We hit 80 yesterday. Actually, yesterday afternoon when the sky was at its clearest, we actually had almost some sun breaks. You could actually see shadows. So we're going to repeat today like yesterday. The cloud's going to be coming in as the day progresses, but all that bad air that's been plaguing everybody for the last 10 days or so is slowly going to dissipate. We'll have some patchy smoke by the time we get to the end of the day, and again, a high of about 83 degrees. Light and variable wind early this morning. It's going to pick up a little bit, a little breezy this afternoon. Tonight, the chance of rain goes to 40%, but again, we're talking light rain, sprinkles and dinkles. So still a little on the smoky side. We'll have fairly cloudy skies overnight. Nice little breeze to keep scouring out the sky. Saturday, we're hoping for some good stuff there. We're hoping for some sunshine and a high of 77. Not a big chance of rain, but the wind's going to be picking up. We'll have a west wind about 9 to 14 miles an hour in the morning, and then picking up to maybe 15 or 20 miles an hour on Saturday afternoon. That's going to help clear out the skies. By Saturday night, we're hoping for clear skies, 55 for the overnight low. Still a little breezy Saturday night. Sunday, I think we're going to be done with it. That's what it's looking like. High of 77, quite a bit of sunshine. Not looking too bad on Tuesday. And then there's a significant storm system we're told is going to head our way come Thursday and Friday. So again, things are going to improve from an air quality standpoint. They've backed off on the amount of precipitation that we're going to get, but they've picked up the winds a little bit. We're almost there. We're almost there. By the time you and I get to see each other again on Monday, we should have clear skies. Keep your fingers crossed. 8 minutes after the hour. Going to take a break. There's a lot of news to get to on this Friday, and we'll do exactly that in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
I have fiber at home because it allows me to do a great job in my profession. It allows me to learn things that I need to learn at home. It allows my kids to hopefully one day be able to be educated because of what they learned online and what they learned from their teachers. And it allows us to have fun too as a family. And we're able to do a lot of things because of fiber internet. I'm Rudy, and my family learns with fiber.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing, located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
Ten minutes after the hour, it's smoky, it's hazy, 57 degrees, but there is finally going to be some relief, some light sprinkles this afternoon. Pretty good chance of some light sprinkles overnight. Tonight, winds will be picking up in intensity as that long-awaited low-pressure system finally comes in to our area and scours out the skies over the course of the weekend. Here's your Friday morning news. 2 people injured, 1 seriously. It was a 3-vehicle accident on the Malaga-Alcoa Highway yesterday morning. Jason Reinfeld of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said at about 6:45 yesterday morning, a 1994 GMC SUV being driven by a 21-year-old Wenatchee man crossed the center line of the highway, narrowly avoided a head-on collision with a pickup, and then collided head-on with a 2017 BMW SUV. The driver of the GMC transported to Central Washington Hospital with what Reinfeld describes as significant injuries. The driver of the BMW, a 51-year-old Malaga woman, also hospitalized. The Chevrolet pickup, being driven by a 47-year-old Malaga man, was sideswiped by the GMC after avoiding the head-on collision. It ended up rolling over. Reinfeld said the accident near milepost 1 closed the highway in both directions for almost an hour. The accident, as you might imagine, under investigation. The Wenatchee Valley pest expert who was hunting down the maggot-infested apples handed out by Governor Jay Inslee, he says all the tainted fruit appears to have been found. Will Carpenter is the director of the Chelan-Douglas Horticultural Pest and Disease Board. He says he thinks he's tracked down all the apples Inslee brought in from Thurston County to Bridgeport during a goodwill visit on September 12th. The transport of fruit across the apple maggot quarantine zone violates, of course, state agricultural rules. Carpenter asked for and got a lot of public help, recovering the bad fruit before it could contribute to an infestation in Wenatchee Valley orchards. However, anybody spotting evidence of apple maggot activity in Chelan or Douglas County brought in by anybody, governor or whoever, should contact his office at the number that you see on the screen, or you can email him at the email address that you see at the bottom of your screen. But it looks like they found all the apples. Since mid-August, the public health response to COVID-19 has been managed by outside teams. Now this week, the second such team started its 30-day deployment. 13 personnel from Pierce County, led by John Unfred, now answer to the interim Chelan-Douglas Health District Director, Nathan Weed. The 2 men introduced themselves and discussed the region's pandemic status in a Facebook Live event yesterday afternoon.
I took on this role very recently at the request of the Board of Health. My day job, I actually work for the State Department of Health, and in that role, I work primarily with our healthcare systems and really looking at ways to increase access to safe and quality healthcare.
I'm the incident commander for the incident right now, and I am with the Pierce County Incident Management Team. My day job, I'm the Assistant Police Chief with the Lakewood Police Department in Lakewood, Washington. Pierce County Incident Management Team is a Type 3 all hazards incident management team. So you may be familiar with incident management teams that work the wildland fires. We're very similar. We follow the same system, the incident command system that all response agencies in the United States use. But we're all hazards, which means that we take a little bit broader view. So we're comprised of firefighters, law enforcement, emergency management, and other government professionals that are trained in that system.
Certainly in governmental circles for a while, there's been this idea that for any large scale and catastrophic type incident, you really do have to respond as a whole community. You can't necessarily respond to something like that as an agency or maybe even a jurisdiction, but it takes really everyone pulling together and doing their part to make it work. And I feel like that's been modeled really well in this county before we arrived. And I'm just really impressed with how it's begun to firm up and really give us the traction we need to move forward since we've been here.
The role of the incident management team, I report directly to Nate, who reports to the policy board and the Board of Health. So we're not taking over. We work directly with the health department employees, and they give us the strategy and the objectives, and then our team takes all the resources and figures out how to do it, how to get it done. So I think what you'll see here in the next couple of weeks is we're using data to drive testing, to drive quicker contact with positive cases. And so the big piece of that is that testing, as Nate was saying. So in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot more testing in the community. And that's what we're building out. So it takes a little bit of time to put together the plan, the logistics, communicate that out and get all those pieces. But that's critical to getting the community reopened. So our hope is that by bringing the team in and creating that plan with the input from the community and the policy board, that we can get this rolling and drastically increase testing and reduce COVID rate and get the community reopened.
An East Wenatchee man is charged with trafficking in stolen property after allegedly trying to sell a table stolen from a nursing home to a Douglas County Sheriff's detective. Nicholas Valenzuela allegedly posted online to sell furnishings taken from Bonaventure Adult Care. That's where he used to work. Items for sale included a dining room table, framed portraits, chairs, lamps, even a washing machine. Police said they arranged to buy a table from Valenzuela in an operation last week before seeking charges. They found some stolen items in his home, by the way. He faces arraignment on September 28th. People using the Apple Capitol Loop Trail will need to take a detour beginning Monday between Confluence State Park and the Otobashian Bridge. The Chelan County PUD, they're going to have some crews out there doing habitat improvement work and bank erosion prevention in the area. The work, which will include bringing in boulders and cobble fill to stabilize the Columbia River shoreline, is expected to continue until November 10th. Now, in addition, the PUD also announced that the Confluence boat launch is going to be closed for the entire month of October. They're going to replace a concrete ramp. State lands in eastern Washington that have been closed since last week because of wildfire danger reopens today. State Lands Commissioner Hillary Franz said improved weather conditions led to the decision not to extend the closure. The state closed the lands back on September 8th and extended that closure last Friday. Now, the Department of Natural Resources say hunters who lost access to the lands and they're concerned about their tags should contact the State Department of Fish and Wildlife. And finally, as you know, the Chelan Douglas Health District has been providing complimentary COVID-19 testing in our area. They're going to do it on Tuesday in Cashmere at Riverside Park. That's at the Riverside Park on Riverside Drive in Cashmere. Also a door-to-door effort throughout various neighborhoods. So if you live in the Cashmere area, you don't need an appointment. It's drive-through testing again Tuesday the 22nd at Riverside Park from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Cashmere, it's your turn. Results can be expected within 24 to 48 hours. For those who test positive, it'll take about a week if you test negative. So that effort continues, and that's what's making headlines. At 18 minutes after the hour, we've got a newscast coming your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. We gather all the news that we think you need to know to get your weekend going with a preview of tonight's news. The anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCWLIFE Evening News, irrigation water shutoff in the Upper Valley has been pushed back a week due to high fire danger. I'll have your possibly wet north central Washington weather forecast, and the Mariners begin a homestand against the Padres beginning tonight. And Dan, you'll be in for Eric Granstrom with more on that in sports. All that and much more coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCWLIFE Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
I'll make a point of watching it. We hope you do too. And if you got a news tip, you just want to drop us a line and say hi, we'd love to hear from you, and you're good at it. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. That's our email address. You can go to our Facebook page. If you so desire, drop us a note via Facebook Messenger. Or if you go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, first of all, you want to bookmark it because we populate it all the time, but you'll notice the Contact Us icon. You can simply drop us a note or submit a news tip directly to our award-winning news team. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the Mariners bullpen let them down again. We'll preview the Seahawks and the Patriots. When we get to sports, we'll also have the obscure holiday today in history, some celebrity birthdays, a brand new opinion from Mike Magnotti, and my conversation with Dominick Bonny. It's all coming up between now and the top of the hour. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
Join NCWLIFE channel for another night at the races Saturday at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. It's the Neil Newberry 125 presented by Pepsi for the Northwest Super Late Model Series. It's also the Tommy Wentz Classic for the Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars. There's also the Holiday Custom Muffler B-Mods and the Plum Perfect Roadrunners. Coverage starts at 6 Saturday live on the NCWLIFE channel, your local TV station.
20 minutes after the hour. By the way, that live racing will be Saturday the 26th, not tomorrow, as we wrap up our coverage of WVSO racing. It's been a good marriage between us and the racetrack. All right, sports. The Mariners blew a 3-run lead, lost to San Francisco yesterday afternoon. The final was 6-4. I watched the game when I got home from work. It was frustrating. Seattle, of course, as you know, was the home team, even though the game was played in San Francisco. They plated 4 runs at the bottom of the second. RBI base hits by Tim Lopes, Phil Irvin, and J.P. Crawford, but the lead wouldn't hold. The Giants scored 2 in the 6th, another 3 in the 7th off Wendell Graveman. Manager Scott Service happy with his starter and how Seattle jumped out on top, but he said they just couldn't get the hits that they needed late in the game.
You know, just looking back on it, I thought Marge, I don't think he was as sharp as we've seen him in the past, but did a nice job to keep us right there in the ball game. Thought he was, solid when giving up the 1 run through the 5 innings. And then offensively, certainly, we had the big inning there early in the game to jump out, get the 4 runs. I think it was in the second. And, certainly had a ton of opportunities late. Just I think the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. I think we had a couple guys in each of those innings that just couldn't push anything across. So, frustrated. I know the guys are. Even in the last inning, Kalu hit the heck out of that ball right at the center field there. Not our day.
Mariners continue what's supposed to be a homestand on the road. They found out yesterday that because of the bad air quality, they're going to play their home series against San Diego in San Diego at Petco Park because of the bad air quality there. So they're still in They're going to head down to Southern California with games against San Diego, but they will be the home team. First pitch tonight, 6:40 tomorrow, 6:10 tomorrow, and then they have a Sunday afternoon game at 1:10. Courtesy of Les Schwab, here's the American League West scoreboard. From yesterday, we begin with Arizona and LA. Taylor Ward and David Fletcher each had 3 hits. Los Angeles gets the victory over the Diamondbacks. Houston edged the Rangers 2-1. They now have 3-game lead over Seattle for the automatic playoff spot in the American League West with 10 games to go. Framber Valdez earned the victory. He went 6 1/3, struck out 11. All right, let's talk football. Seattle defensive tackle L.J. Collier. He earned the starting spot this year with hard work and determination. That usually gets the job done. The former number 1 draft pick spent his rookie season nursing injuries and ignoring outside pressures to get back into the lineup. He says he's learned a lot between year 1 and year 2, and it's paying off with playing time.
Just last year, just coming out of college and stuff like that, it was just some things I didn't know about how the offseason worked in the NFL. Just from, in college we're working out all the time with the team and things like that, and we didn't do that last year and stuff like that. And I just kind of really had to find myself in the offseason, me a great plan, and just how to watch what I eat and stuff like that, and really just keep myself busy, working out more than once in the day and things like that. And yes, I am in better shape than I was last year. I'm lighter. I feel better. Last year I was, I got hurt early on, and then, I'm going all these lingering injuries, and I just felt sore all the time. This year I don't feel that way. I feel good going into practice. I can focus in. I know more, and I feel smarter and everything like that. And all I can try to do is week by week, man, add on to my game and play hard. That's what, and give it my all every week. That's all I can really give.
Collier and the Seahawks defense are going to have their hands full Sunday night. They got Cam Newton, of course, coming to town. A former teammate of Cam Newton is tight end Greg Olsen, who caught his very first touchdown pass as a Seahawk in their victory Sunday against Atlanta. He joked he really didn't have a choice. He had to catch the ball.
Yeah, it was a great start. It's always nice to know that the quarterback feels comfortable enough with you to kind of trust you and kind of throw a ball before you even turn around. But I kind of joked that I didn't really have much of a choice but to catch it, because if I didn't, it would have been a disaster. I probably would have knocked my face mask off. But yeah, it was great timing. I got a little jammed up there. I was supposed to be a little deeper. There was some traffic and had to break it off a little early, and Russ just had a great window through the line there, and just trusted that I was going to come out of the break, and When I turned my head, it was right there. So it was a nice, for the first game, to start developing some of that timing and rhythm, and knowing that we're building on that trust each and every day is nice. We got a lot of work to do. I still got a lot of things to learn within the framework of the offense, but overall it was a good first start.
One big change to the Seattle offense this year is where the plays are being called. The offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, he decided to go up into the booth this year. He spent the last couple of years on the sidelines calling the plays. He says that move from the sidelines to the booth was a no-brainer.
Yeah, Pete and I talked about during the offseason, and really, John, the way that they've changed the rules about 4 or 5 years ago, where you can still talk to the quarterback from the press box, that was a huge rule change. You weren't allowed to do that till about 4 or 5 years ago. And so it's something that I've thought about for the last couple of years, because you certainly see things so much better from up there. You're able to see the defensive adjustments and see the play unfold, and kind of almost anticipate more what they're doing. So it's something that we talked about, and just with where we are with Russ and my confidence level with him and his understanding with the system, it kind of became a no-brainer. And we were hoping to be able to practice it during the preseason. We didn't get a chance to do that. We did in the mock game, but I loved it. There's no distractions up there. You can see things so much better. Like, you can literally see things unfold. You see adjustments, some of the things that you can pick up on. Like, we ran a slant early in the game, and you saw the rookie corner jump inside and off, and so that kind of knew at some point we wanted to maybe try to test him with the double move. So I really thought it went great.
Seahawks, Patriots, national TV, Sunday Night Football, 5:20 kickoff on NBC. Both teams are 1-0 on the season. This will be the 5th time Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick go up against each other. Each coach has 2 wins against the other. And finally, a look at our schedule, broadcast schedule for the weekend. We got high school football tonight at 6:30, Wildcats and the Rams from West Valley. This game from last September provided a good glimpse into the type of season Eastmont would have. Eric Granstrom and Grant Olson on the play-by-play. Tomorrow at 2, you can rewatch the classic battle between Kashmir and Cascade in girls soccer from last October. Sebastian Moraga and Matt Wisen almost caught pneumonia, but it was worth it. It was a very classic game. If you missed our coverage of last weekend's Jerry Bershire Memorial 100 at the WVSO, we're going to re-air that tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Sunday, it's playoff soccer. Eastmont hosting Moses Lake at 2 o'clock, Wenatchee at 7, and girls action from last November. And those were just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday at 28 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday. And you might go, didn't you just do this? Because I believe last week when I was gone, Eric did National Double Cheeseburger Day. This is just National Cheeseburger Day, not necessarily a double cheeseburger. That looks good. When I was in Arizona on vacation, there's an In-N-Out about a mile from the establishment I was saying. We don't have In-N-Outs anywhere here in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I had to enjoy In-N-Out. I think I ate there like 4 times. Of course, we all know that hamburgers themselves are a German invention, but we're Americans, and we're the ones who came up with the idea sometime in the late 20s or early 30s. Nobody really knows where. Somebody came up with the idea of throwing a hunk of cheese on the burger, and today we're gone. So lettuce, onions, tomatoes, pickles, cheese, mustard, ketchup. You gotta love it. I have some extra cheesy cheeseburger facts for you on this National Cheeseburger Day. The largest cheeseburger ever made weighed 2,014 pounds, a ton. The largest cheeseburger was created by the Black Bear Casino Resort in Minnesota. It had over 40 pounds of cheese on it and 16 pounds of bacon. 71% of all the beef served in the U.S. eventually becomes either a hamburger or a cheeseburger. The number 1 cheese served on a cheeseburger, cheddar. Number 2, American. I don't believe I've had a regular hamburger. I can't remember the last time I had a regular hamburger. To me, a hamburger is a cheeseburger. You got to have cheese on it. Happy National Cheeseburger Day. Today in history. Man, they had a party on this date in 1793. 227 years ago, September 18th, 1793, they laid the cornerstone for the Capitol building. George Washington himself did the honors. It was a Masonic ceremony. George Washington was, of course, a Mason. They carried sacrifices of corn, wine, and oil. They went into the trench. They laid the cornerstone. They had a 15-gun salute, one for each state at the time. There were 15 states in the Union. in 1793. They then had a short invocation. Then they slaughtered a 500-pound ox right there and ate it. At one point, there were plans to have Washington buried in a crypt in the Capitol building. And the crypt is still there. But George Washington, when he died in 1799, his will specifically said, I don't want to be buried in Washington, D.C. I want to be buried at my farm in Mount Vernon. So it was a nice plan. Didn't happen. The Capitol building, they began building the darn thing on this date in 1793. 93 years ago today, 1927, CBS went on the air. At the time, it was the Columbia Broadcasting System. They dropped that moniker in the 80s. Now they're just known as CBS. CBS broke the mold when it came to networks. There were other broadcasting networks that had affiliates across the country, but the affiliates had to buy the programming from the networks. They had to pay cash to get the programming from NBC or Mutual or whoever it was. CBS completely inverted that business philosophy. They went to their affiliates and said, we will give you our network programming for free, no charge. All you have to do is give us some commercial time so we can sell it to national networks. And of course, the affiliates said, free programming from CBS, we'll take that. And that's how CBS's fortune came to be. It was owned by William Paley, who sold it to Westinghouse in 1995. Ironically enough, CBS is owned by Viacom, which at one time was owned by CBS. CBS is 93 years old today. The Air Force is 73 years old today. Happy birthday to the United States Air Force. They became an independent branch of the United States Armed Forces. The United States Air Force is, as you might imagine, the largest air force in the world, and it's 73 years old today. Today is the 57th anniversary of the very last baseball game played at the Polo Grounds. We actually have footage of this. It was the Philadelphia Phillies and the beleaguered New York Mets. Total crowd 1,752. The Phillies beat the Mets 5-1. The Polo Grounds in Upper Harlem was, quite frankly, a dump. The restrooms didn't work, so it stunk of urine. It smelled of cigar smoke and stale beer and popcorn. It was not what you would call a first-class facility, but people loved it anyway. Of course, it was the home of the New York Giants forever and ever and ever before they moved to San Francisco. The Yankees played there for a short time. The Jets played there. Of course, the Mets played their first 2 seasons at the late lamented Polo Grounds, and the Polo Grounds saw their very last baseball game this state back in 1963. And why are they all walking out to the outfield? That's where the clubhouses were. Yeah, the clubhouse wasn't attached to the dugout. It was out in the middle of the outfield. The late, not-so-lamented Polo Grounds hosted its last Major League game on the state back in 1963. And this is the 50th anniversary of the death of James Marshall Hendricks. Jimi Hendrix died in a London apartment, pronounced dead on arrival at St. Mary's Hospital in London. The circumstances behind Jimi Hendrix's death remain mysterious to this day. The official coroner's inquiry came out with an open verdict. Supposedly, he choked to death on his own vomit. Of course, Jimi Hendrix was only 27 years old when he died. He is, without question, the greatest guitarist in rock and roll history. The original 3 studio albums that Jimi Hendrix did are regular visitors to my turntable. His gravesite at Greenwood Memorial Cemetery in Renton is the most visited grave in the state. Jimi Hendrix died 50 years ago today, but the music lives on. Let's do birthdays. The ever mysterious Greta Garbo, born in the state of 1905, lived a long time, lived to the age of 84, died in 1990. She was Swedish, moved to America, made 28 films, and at the age of 35, she retired and stayed retired until her death. She was retired for 50 years. She never signed autographs. She got tons of fan mail, never answered the fan mail, never, ever, ever conducted interviews with anybody after her retirement. She had an art collection that was worth millions and millions of dollars when she died. She lived most of the last 50 years of her life in a beautiful penthouse apartment in the Upper West Side of New York City. Greta Garbo, born in the state in 1905, the mysterious actress. 2 people were shot to death in Dallas, Texas on November 22nd, 1963. One was the President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. The other person who was shot and killed in the streets of Dallas was J.D. Tippit. a Dallas police officer who was shot and killed by Lee Harvey Oswald about 45 minutes after the President of the United States died. J.D. Tippit was born in the state in 1924. He left behind a wife and 3 children. In the ensuing weeks after his murder, $647,000 was given to the J.D. Tippit family. There wasn't a GoFundMe page back then or anything like that. People just sent his widow money and condolences. Abraham Zapruder, the man who filmed the famous Kennedy assassination, he himself gave $25,000 to the family of J.D. Tippit, who was shot to death on this state, who was born in the state in 1924, shot to death on November 22nd, 1963. Considered one of the greatest coaches of all time, regardless of the sport, is Scotty Bowman, who is 87 years old today. He holds the record for the most wins in NHL history as a head coach. He won 223 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs alone. He is happily retired. Scotty Bowman is 87 years old today, considered by many simply the greatest hockey coach ever, and maybe one of the greatest coaches ever, regardless of sport. And we miss James Gandolfini. He was so good. I didn't actually watch The Sopranos until after Sopranos went off the air. I stumbled across it on Netflix or Hulu or something, became engrossed in the show. Of course, he played Tony Soprano in the show The Sopranos. He won 3 Emmy Awards, a bunch of Screen Actor Awards, a Golden Globe Award. Died way too young. He was only 51 years old today, but we miss good old James. 36 minutes after the hour, we have a brand new opinion from Mike McNaughty. You have never seen it. Gonna make you think. And then my conversation with Dominick Bonny, our good friend, who dropped by yesterday to record our conversation because he's got a brand new show that's going to debut on this very TV station on Monday night. Dominick Bonny and I will have a little chit-chat when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Don't worry, all the fun is around the corner. There's no better time to get ready than now with Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa sale. Stock Up and Save sale is now going on in-store and online at BlueLagoonPoolandSpa.com. Even pool heaters are on sale. Financing available upon approval. Credit 24-month, no interest with equal payments. Stop by today or order online at BlueLagoonPoolandSpa.com. Free water testing available in-store or curbside. Don't wait, the sale is going on now.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, listen, people, stop saying people who support Biden or Trump are idiots, morons, or are those who ignore facts. Now, stop saying you hate and disdain these people. I work with and I know a lot of different folks who are all over the social, economic, philosophical spectrums, and they all have reasons to them, which are good reasons for supporting who they support. Now, none of them are stupid. None of them are morons. They just don't agree with you. So stop the name calling and vilification. You're better than that. I hope. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
What is it about Tipsy Canyon Winery that keeps people coming back? Is it the magnificent view from the hillside tasting room? Is it the exceptional but affordable wines? Or is it just the fact that you feel right at home from the minute you walk through the door? Actually, it's all this and more. Experience the Tipsy Canyon Winery located just outside of Manson. Your new home away from home.
At Harvest Valley Pest Control, we know you are committed to making your home and business a healthy and pest-free place. Hi, I'm David. Give us a call and we'll give you a firm price over the phone and schedule a time that works for you. We will do an in-depth 30-point healthy home or business inspection and craft a customized plan of action designed specifically for your pest issue. Give us a call or visit our website today.
Our country is currently facing an opioid epidemic. It's estimated that 130 Americans die daily from opioid overdose. To help turn the tide on this epidemic, Confluence Health has partnered with local pharmacies and health systems to offer a dozen medication take-back boxes in North Central Washington. The first place children are exposed to medications is in the home. Second, disposing of medications properly is good for our environment. To learn more about the medication take-back boxes, please visit confluencehealth.org/opioids.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. As most of you know, here at the NCWLIFE channel, we are responsible for producing our own content. We're in the Seattle-Tacoma designated market area, and we're not going to bore you with shop talk, but basically that means that's why you don't see Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and Monday Night Football on this tiny little TV station, the little engine that could. So we're cranking out new programs left and right. And the man who's going to be debuting a brand new show on Monday called Common Sense, he is the host. He's no stranger to this program. And if you've been in the Wenatchee Valley for the last 15 years, he's no stranger to you either. Dominick Bonny will be hosting a new show called Common Sense. Dom, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for doing the show. We'll get into your show specifically, but for those folks in our television family who say, who's Dominick Bonny? First of all, shame on you. Second of all, who's Dominick Bonny? Give us a little biographical sketch, if you don't mind.
Born and bred in Eastern Washington, from the Yakima Valley originally, went to WSU for school, was raised on and around farms, dairy farms and orchards my whole life, so that's what I did. That's what made me want to go to college. And so I went to WSU and worked at the Daily Evergreen, the student newspaper. It's a daily there, and we came up through the ranks and became the editor-in-chief my senior year, and graduated, came here to be a business reporter, and realized cub reporter doesn't make very much money. So I thought,
and they still don't.
They still don't. So I thought, boy, how can I supplement my income? And so I started managing social media pages for businesses. My first two clients were Iwa Sushi downtown and Cafe Mela.
You can't go better than those two.
No, so I'd bounce back and cross, the street down there on Wenatchee Ave, and started developing relationships in the downtown business area, and kind of expanded my business from there. And after that, I took on a partner, Russ Allman, and we took on clients like the Eastmont School District and the Wenatchee World for a time, and managed all of their social media, which there's a lot of moving parts there.
Yes,
so,
there is.
Expanded into videography and the documentary film stuff, and worked on projects like the Stories of Recovery for the NCACH, which is under the Chelan Douglas Health District, and kind of honing these skills that I learned back in college, the storytelling journalism skills, but kind of bringing it to a more local NCW lens kind of a thing.
So were you like one day milking a cow and decided, I don't want to do this for a living. Sorry, folks, I don't want to inherit the family farm. I want to do something else. At what point did you say, I want to tell stories for a living? Because I think I'm good at it. At what point did the light go off?
Well, I have to say it was probably due to a near-death experience that I had. I broke both my legs, both femurs, in a skiing accident in 2007 in Oregon. And so I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks, and they had to 2 surgeries to put my left leg back together. And I thought to myself, you kind of have a come to Jesus moment there. And, both my legs were 44 inches around. The swelling was terrible. They were going to maybe put me on dialysis. So, it was touch and go because it was messing with my internal organs. And I thought, boy, I'm in criminal justice. It was my emphasis when I was a freshman, and I was coming into sophomore year, and I was at a private school taking out student loans to stay there. And I thought, is this really what I want to do, criminal justice? I mean, I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to tell stories, and I've always been interested in stories from people who you don't hear from much, right? The poor, the farm workers, women, single. I mean, I'm the product of a single parent household. I was raised by my mom.
And she done good.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, lots of help from the extended family. But, you know, I laid there in that bed and I thought, you know, this could have just ended the whole thing before I really thought I got started. So what do I want to do? And I want to be a storyteller and I want to be a journalist. So I transferred to WSU and enrolled in the communications program there. And that's pretty much, didn't look back.
We've shown a great deal of your work on this television station and on this particular television show. Some of the fine work you and Russ have done over the years, which is how I got to know you, because I thought this guy's pretty good. What of the videos and the mini documentaries and public service announcements, whatever you want to call them, is there any particular one that you're especially proud of, that you put a lot of work in, and when it was all over and you had that nice epiphany and you went, oh, this is good, I done good. Is there any one that you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, I would have to say the Stories of Recovery series, and that's actually something that I'm still working on. I'm entering phase 2, but you know, for that I sat down with people who were pretty hardcore gangbangers and drug dealers back in the day, and who have, you know, like Victor Estrada, who now works in homeless outreach. You know, he bounced from California to Nevada, finally ended up coming here, getting into bad stuff, but he turned his life around. Now he's 5 years clean, and he's getting married. And you know, another woman I spoke with in Moses Lake, you know, she was on the streets at 11. Lots of bad things happened to her, and she did a lot of bad things to other people. She lost her kids, you know, in a DEA raid, and that kind of turned the light on for her, and she pulled herself out. And because of that recovery community and those programs that they work and the community that they've built, they give each other support and the support that they need to get out, you know. And so I feel very privileged and honored that they have allowed me into that community, because it's a community, let's face it, it's an anonymous 12-step programs, and you know, these people don't necessarily want those stories to be broadcast on television, but they have opened up to me to put that on the internet and to put it on TV and share with the community. And I think that's so important, because when you think of a drug addict, you think of what you think of on TV, what you see on Law and Order and what you see on movies, and it's a stereotype, you know. These are brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers.
They're human beings.
Exactly.
And they deserve respect.
Yeah, and it's a public health crisis. And I think that a lot of times, and you know, this is something I'm going to go into in my show in an episode, but when we start to think of it like a public health crisis and less of a criminal justice issue, I think we're going down the right path. Because these are addiction and psychology issues, and you can't arrest that, you know? So we need to calibrate the way that we look at certain issues, and that's what I want to do with my show.
Well, let's talk about Common Sense. The genesis of the show. Common Sense makes its debut Monday night, I believe at 8 o'clock, here on the NCWLIFE channel. Talk about the concept of the show, the genesis of the show, how it all came together, Dom.
Well, Local Tel is a client, and you know, so I have some relationships with people like Cal and Eric and yourself, and so we started coming in and working on the Local Tel social media, and you know, Brenda and Cal said, well, what about maybe thinking about doing a show? I know you're a journalist and do a lot of freelance stuff, and you're well, what did Cal say? We'd like some philosophical content. And I said, well, I'm not sure if I can, you know, match that standard. That's a pretty high bar there. But yeah, I have a perspective, and I feel like I'm a moderate. And really, what I want to do is news and analysis, taking national and maybe even global issues, but more like national issues, and asking, well, what does that mean to the people of North Central Washington? So, for instance, the first episode is about fake news, and every episode, I think I'm going to do a segment on some piece of misinformation, because it's pervasive.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere you look, and it's hard to understand what's true when there's so much misinformation being, you know, thrown about. So that's important. In the second episode, we talk about civility, and masks are part of that. And I've got some CCTV footage and cell phone footage of people berating these minimum wage workers, these people who work at the counter of retail shops and stuff like that, they're not paid to enforce the governor's mask mandates. They're just trying to put food on the table. So looking at that issue of maybe a breakdown of civility in our society nationwide, but you can even see it here. And it's hard to a lot of times we look at what's happening in other places and we're like, well, that's the rest of America. Wenatchee is bucolic. We're different.
We
here.
tell ourselves that. I mean, I love it here, but anywhere you're going to have situations like that where is it me or is there's a lot of just angry people out there that I don't recall knowing growing up.
Exactly.
So
we need to have those conversations. I mean, communication is the only way that you resolve an issue. If you ignore it, it won't get fixed. So, let's use our words, let's have conversations, and I want to hear from everyone's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you do that, when you bring people to the table and you hear them out, that resolves a lot of that conflict, because when it's all bottled up inside and when you're taking all the stuff that's been packed into your head by all of these messages, whether it's on television or social media or whatever it is, this gets a lot of people in an election year too. They're all keyed up. It's like you're, shaking up a bottle of pop and then you're gonna take the top off. Well, let's try and have civil conversations, bring the temperature down, and really try to come halfway rather than just talking at people or talking past them. Listening is a big part.
Yeah, as I like to tell people, about 80% of my job is paying attention. If you can pay attention and you're halfway there. You're a relatively young guy, Dominick. You're welcome for me to say that.
Relatively.
From your generation's perspective, are people getting more involved, less involved? Are they paying it forward? Are they so jaundiced by what's going on in this country and in this planet that they kind of don't care anymore from your generation's perspective? Where are we with that?
I would have to say that I think the millennials, which I'm an older millennial, I'm right on the cusp, and the Zoomers, the Generation Z coming behind us, I would say they're more, I guess for lack of a better term, woke, more involved, more interested in these social issues. Where, I was just having a conversation with my father-in-law. He's going to love this. The other day, and he said with nostalgia, in his eyes, well, when I was a kid, we didn't talk about politics, we didn't talk about religion. But I also know how old he is, and I also know that he was coming up through the 60s, and life was not easy or perfect. It didn't fit in a little box. Mm-hmm. So this idea that we can harken back to a time in American history where everything was copacetic, where there's this Pax Romana, right, of Americanism or Americana. It just doesn't exist. There's always been turmoil. There's always been growth, and with that comes progress. But with that comes growing pains, right? Mm-hmm. So we just have to accept, I think, that there's going to be turbulence in every generation, in every age, and how do we approach that and fix these problems with the most grace and humility possible? Because when you inject anger and even violence into the mix, it just doesn't work. I mean, I'm a history nerd and I go into this in my episodes, but look at the history of Rome. I mean, Rome was a republic for about 500 years, and as soon as people started bringing weapons to the Senate, it turned into a dictatorship pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So we need to, look at history and understand we can learn lessons from that.
Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
I didn't say that, somebody else did, but I'll take credit for it. What do you want viewers to take away from your show? They're going to commit a half an hour, starting Monday at 8 o'clock, we hope, to watch a brand new program called Common Sense, again hosted by Dominick Bonny, my good friend here. What do you want viewers to take away from the half hour they're going to see?
I want them to take away the fact that the people that we disagree with aren't our enemies, right? Left, right, these aren't, the dehumanization of our political rivals is one of the biggest issues and biggest things that I worry about in our contemporary society. And I think you can look at Rwanda, for example. When you start to look at a group and other them and even start to saber rattle and talk almost violently about what you're going to do to a group of people who disagree with you or might have big differences, whether that be racially, genetically, you're treading on some pretty thin ice. And I don't think that we want to fall through that ice. So I think that what we need to do is have a conversation and bring more understanding. And with understanding comes peace. And that's what I would like to do, is promote peace and understanding with my show.
Welcome to our television family, Dom. We appreciate you doing it. The show's called Common Sense. Again, it makes its debut Monday night at 8 o'clock and at various times throughout the course of the week. Just go to our website and it'll have all the times that the show will be on. You have one new episode a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And you're working with Rachel Mandalis, one of our top content producers.
I am. Actually, I think we're going to do 2 episodes a month.
Okay, 2 episodes.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because believe me, sometimes it's a challenge to put together. I have to do 1 hour show every day.
Yeah,
you can't imagine what that's like. So
No.
I basically fake my way through it.
Well,
is what I do.
Well, you do a great job.
Yeah, thanks, Dominic.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Common Sense. You better believe what I'm going to be doing Monday night at 8 o'clock. I'll be watching your show, buddy. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Dominic, it's good to see you. You're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back. Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Mary Maids of Wenatchee has been professionally cleaning and sanitizing homes and businesses in north central Washington since 1998. Mary Maids uses commercial-grade cleaners and viricides. Mary Maids has implemented additional safety and sanitation protocols. They are strictly following CDC guidelines for the safety of their clients and employees. For expert help with cleaning and sanitizing your home or business, call or look up Mary Maids of Wenatchee to schedule your free estimate today.
Building. It's in our blood. Building something out of nothing. It takes heart, grit, and hard work. At One Way Construction, our crew is our family. With decades of contracting experience and our in-house design team, we bring a unique perspective to building. We know that if we work together, we are capable of reaching heights that are impossible to reach alone. The possibilities are endless.
Succession is leading the way for a new generation of Chelan wineries. Named Platinum Winemaker of the Year in 2017 and the one to watch in 2018 by Wine Press, Succession is setting the pace. Award-winning wines are just a part of the overall experience. Add live music on Sundays and fantastic views, and you have it all. Succession Wines, located on the north shore of Lake Chelan between Chelan and Manson.
And we are back live here from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee with one more look at your weather forecast. And yes, that long-awaited low is finally going to push into the region later on today. And what does that mean? The smoke has been going and going away. It's been plaguing our region for seemingly forever, but the end is in sight. The air quality is slowly going to improve today, even though they did extend the air quality alert through 10 o'clock tomorrow. The big day is going to be Saturday. Going to really start later on today with a slight chance of some light rain in this afternoon, a little bit of light wind, light and variable wind. We'll top off at about 83 degrees. Big changes start happening tonight. The chance of rain, light rain, again, not significant precipitation, but enough anyway. There's about a 40% chance of light rain tonight. So we're still going to have some patchy smoke, a little bit of wind, 56 for the overnight low. Saturday, we start scouring out the skies. Wind will be picking up in intensity. Could see the occasional westerly gust as high as 20, 25 miles an hour with a little bit of light rain in the morning, perhaps. Saturday night, again, just enough breeze to clean out the sky. By the time we get to Sunday, hey, quite a bit of sunshine. Looks like we're going to have some widespread light precipitation over most of the viewing area. That's going to help. The winds are going to help a little bit. The cooler temperatures are going to help a little bit. So, hey, can't wait till Sunday because we're finally going to be done with this gunky air. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.